Ainulindalë, the music of the Ainur. There was Eru, the One, who in Arda is called Iluvatar, and he made first the Ainur, the holy ones, that were the offspring of his thought, and they were with him before aught else was made. That's a lot of new words right off the bat, huh? Well, let's go through them. Eru, God, I mean, really, the supreme being. Eru means he that is alone. Iluvatar, that's just the elf name for him. It means father of all. Now, a fun little side note, I can't help but wonder if this is a little Easter egg from Finland. The Finnish national epic called the Kalevala, it served as some inspiration to Tolkien, and in it there's a goddess, like a creator goddess called Ilmatar. Ilmatar. I wonder if those are, I wonder if Tolkien was thinking of that. Anyway, just a fun little thing. And Ainur, the divine spirits, they're kind of like lesser gods. They would be better than angels because they can make things. But we're gonna see a lot of that word later. So at the beginning of this, Eru gives them themes of music to sing. At first, they each sing alone because each of them only comes from one part of Eru's mind. But then they start to listen to each other, and they begin to sing and harmonize together, and then Eru tells them a quote-unquote mighty theme. And he says to them, "Of the theme that I have declared to you, I will now that ye make in harmony together a great music. And since I have kindled you with the flame imperishable, ye shall show forth your powers in adorning this theme, each with his own thoughts and devices, if he will." So it's kind of like jazz improvisation. You have a key, you have a well-known melody, that's the main melody of the song, but then everyone kind of does their own part. Each instrument does their own thing, they improvise, all still while keeping within the key and the theme of the song. And so that's kind of what the music of the Ainur is to me. That's kind of how I think of it. The flame imperishable, also known as the secret fire, Tolkien had written in a letter that he saw that as the same as the Holy Spirit. In this story, it's basically Iluvatar's power of creativity, like the power to not only create something, but give sentience to something. So that's going to be a big thing. The first Ainu mentioned by name, now Ainu, that's singular of Ainur. Ainur is plural. Got it? Good. The first Ainu who's actually mentioned by name is Melkor. But as the theme progressed, it came into the heart of Melkor to interweave matters of his own imagining that were not in accord with the theme of Iluvatar, for he sought to increase the power and glory of the part assigned to himself. To Melkor, among the Ainur, had been given the greatest gifts of power and knowledge, and he had a share in all the gifts of his brethren. So let's see what this all means. He's basically playing in a different key from the rest of the jazz band. Maybe he's a loud, brash trumpet who just wants to be a show-off, and he doesn't really care about the unity of the piece they're playing. But also, he can play the other instruments a little that everyone else is playing too. So not only he's an expert in his own instrument, he's really skillful. He knows all the other instruments too. You might be thinking at this point, oh, this character sounds a lot like the biblical Satan. That's right. You would be right. The fallen angel. He started out as the most beautiful, most talented, most wonderful angel, but then he tried to be like God, or he was rebellious, so then he fell. Yeah, so that's definitely a big similarity there. He's impatient about there not yet being a physical creation to fill the void. Now, the void is think of the nothingness before the physical universe was made. It's spaceless, it's timeless, it's just nothingness. That's the void. He often looks for the flame imperishable out in the void so that he can take that flame and give life and make his own things. But the flame imperishable is only with Iluvatar. Melkor never finds it. So his music, it throws off the other Ainur, it throws off the other band members. Some try to follow his themes, others are messing up. It's just pandemonium. It's terrible. Sounds awful. So Melkor disturbs the first theme, then Iluvatar scraps that, makes a second theme. Melkor disturbs that too, so then Iluvatar makes a third theme. And Melkor's music does influence it, but that's the final theme that Iluvatar accepts. So there's greatness in the music, but there's also sadness and sorrow in it. But hey, that's what it was going to be. Iluvatar says so. Then Iluvatar shows all of the Ainur the result of their music, which turns out to be the world. Now, you'll see in the book, we've got world with a capital W. That's just another word for the universe. Think of it that way. This is not a science fiction book, so he kind of takes words that look more Germanic, that look more old-timey. So he's not going to say universe, but that's what world is here. So Iluvatar also shows them predictions of the future in visions, but he doesn't reveal everything to them. He reveals almost everything, but not everything. So the Ainur know almost everything, but they're not, they don't know everything about the universe. Only Iluvatar does. Then Iluvatar shows them a vision of his children. Now, they didn't see that in the musical themes, but they see them in this vision. The children of Ilúvatar are the elves, those are the firstborn, and the men, called the followers. And they were not created by the Ainur. They're only going to be created by Ilúvatar. So the Ainur think, wow, this is great, this is really cool. Amazing. Ilúvatar then shows the Ainur a vision of the place for his children to live. And that place is a planet called Arda. It's like Earth, okay? The most mighty of the Ainur are really interested in Arda and in the children of Ilúvatar. Unfortunately, Melkor is also paying attention too, and he's interested in going down there and trying to rule the planet for himself. So, he's a jerk. And now we see some names of some of the mightiest of the Ainur. There's Ulmo, whose thought is turned to water, so he's kind of like Poseidon in this story. Poseidon from Greek mythology. Then we have Manwe, whose thought was of the air and wind, and he's the noblest of the Ainur. And then there's Aule, who thought most about the earth. Think stone, metal, gems, things like that. And he was like a great smith. Many world mythologies have smith gods. Ilúvatar gave him, quote, skill and knowledge scarce less than to Melkor. Interesting. The big difference is, unlike Melkor, Aule takes pride in making things and in the things themselves, but he's not prideful or arrogant about it. He just happily moves on to a new task and doesn't jealously hoard the things he's made like Melkor would. He makes things, and then he moves along to something else. It's no big thing to him. Then Ilúvatar stops the vision, and the Ainur just see darkness. So he's been showing them what their music has brought forth, but none of it's actually real yet. So they just see nothingness. And they're really restless because they want to get to work at actually making what they saw in the vision a reality. The music was just blueprints. It was just spitballing ideas. So it's still just the void. So Iluvatar says, Ea! It's a new word. This means the material universe. It means all creation. Ea is just another word for world with a capital W. And then he says, and I will send forth into the void the flame imperishable, and it shall be at the heart of the world, and the world shall be. And those of you that will may go down into it. So now the power of creativity is in the universe, which means that any of the Ainur can choose to go down into the universe, the physical universe, and start building it up. So that's what happens. Many of the greatest and most fair of the Ainur descend into the physical universe, into Ea. Some Ainur stay behind with Iluvatar, however. Not all of the Ainur go down there. But of the ones who do go down there, they will henceforth be known as the Valar. The Valar are those among the Ainur who went into the universe, and Valar means the powers of the world. But once the Valar get down there, they're really bummed that the universe is dark and unshaped. For the great music had been but the growth and flowering of thought in the timeless halls, and the vision only a foreshowing. But now they had entered in at the beginning of time, and the Valar perceived that the world had been but foreshadowed and foresung, and they must achieve it. So now they get to work, and they work really, really hard at making the entire universe. They also make Arda, the planet that I mentioned earlier. Manwe, Aule, and Ulmo are the ones who really have a big hand in making Arda. And of course Melkor comes in and he says, it's my kingdom now, and he tries to fiddle around with it, lighting fires and volcanoes, and it's a disaster area. It's so much of a disaster area that Manwe, who's actually the brother of Melkor in the mind of Iluvatar, I mean, that's nuts, right? Manwe comes in and he says, you know what, Melkor, beat it. You're really annoying everyone. You're not helping. Go away. So Melkor goes away for a little while. Now the Valar are, even though they're spirits, they can take physical form. They take male form and female form. It says that they kind of imitate the Children of Ilúvatar. They take form that is kind of like them. So that's interesting. They made the world beautiful, but Melkor takes on physical form too, and it's terrifying because he's a big jerk. So he starts fiddling around again. He starts meddling again. They built lands, and Melkor destroyed them. Valleys they delved, and Melkor raised them up. Mountains they carved, and Melkor threw them down. Seas they hollowed, and Melkor spilled them, and naught might have been peace or come to lasting growth, for as surely as the Valar began a labor, so would Melkor undo it or corrupt it. So they actually do finish making Arda, but it turns out it's not perfect, not exactly what they had imagined. But that's okay. They give it form, it exists. And we will continue with this creation of the world narrative thread, not in the next chapter, but the chapter after next.